Hello and welcome to the Intel Daily Recap of the Oculus Connect 3. We're here at day 2. My name is Kent Bai of the Voices of VR podcast, and I'm joined here with...
And I am Reverend Kyle, host of the RevVR podcast. Yeah, Kent, it's been an exciting day. We had, we had the keynote today.
Yes. And
Wow.
Before we dive into the keynote, I just wanted to welcome our listeners and also just make a quick announcement that as you're tuning in today, we are going to be giving away a free Oculus Rift. So if you are watching, stay through to the end. And then at the end, we're going to be picking one viewer to be able to give away a Rift to. So stay tuned. But
One lucky viewer.
And you have to be 18 or older. So.
Well, yeah. So stay tuned because you might win.
Great.
So let's talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. So today, huge day, right? This was the day that I think everybody was waiting for in terms of a 2.5-hour keynote of lots of different announcements of everything from the Oculus Rift and where that's at, and the touch controllers, the content, Gear VR, lots of just like announcements that, for you, what were the big takeaways for you? What's the thing that really sticks out for you?
You know, we had so many different predictions, possibilities of things that they could say, and you know, we all knew that there was going to be something about touch. I mean, Oculus Touch is definitely a talking point of this entire show, and I was concerned, as a lot of people were, of what the cost was going to be. And so they announced the actual launch date, they announced the pre-ordering, and they announced the price. And they came out at $199 US.
Yeah.
What do you think about the price?
I think it's competitive to other systems that are out there, you know, and I think that, to me, I think that the Oculus Touch, it's very comfortable, it's very ergonomic, and the thing that I like about it that's different than other controllers that are out there is that it actually has 2 buttons, and so you can start to do a little bit more and different gameplay with it. You can still move your hands around and pull triggers. There's some games that are just going to be a lowest common denominator that do that, but I just like the ease of use and just how they're able to use it in some of the different professional applications that we've seen here so far.
Yeah, Oculus is really doing it right with their unified input API. So they've got, you know, like they said, you can take the touch controllers and actually use them to play a gamepad experience or vice versa. And so it's really interesting to me to know that with the touch controllers now out, or at least coming very, very soon to retailing and you know, I guess your mailbox at some point, if you pre-order it. The fact that it's going to be out and so many people are going to have this, it's good that another big piece of this was the titles that they announced, because without the titles, the hardware doesn't do you much good.
Yeah, so lots of games that were announced. I think one of the biggest ones that was announced here and that we had a chance to play a little bit today, I did at least, was Robo Recall, which is from Epic Games using the Unreal Engine. And it's really born of a bullet train that was launched last year, where you can catch bullets and throw them back, and using a lot of mechanics where they actually have a very new teleport mechanic where you can move around. And before there was just different waypoints that you go to. Now you can just teleport anywhere and go right up to one of the, you know, the story is that you're in the future and these AI robots have taken over, and you're doing a recall of these AI robots gone bad. And so you can grab them and throw them around. You can, you know, have guns that you pull out from your side and shotguns, and so it's just a super fun, engaging, action-packed game that really made me want to start to jump in and play it in a game that's going to be, I think, coming out and free for everybody to play once it does launch sometime in Q1.
Yeah, it's really important that it is free. I mean, you know, a lot of people bullet train was their either first or second touch experience. And so when they first came out with the touch controllers, we were all playing bullet train and talking about how amazing this was. So to take that concept and turn it into a full game experience, you know, when they showed, there was a great reaction from the stage, you know, and the folks that are sitting there in the keynote, they're watching as the player rips the arm off of the robot and starts smacking the robot in the head, and the robot's going, ow, 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 ow. You know, I mean, that's that's compelling gameplay for me.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think it's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. I think for me, one of the biggest surprises was that they announced kind of a middle of the road, something that's in between the Gear VR and something that is the Oculus Rift PC, and also just so being able to do inside-out tracking. They didn't show anything to the public quite yet, so there's something they're working on, and their roadmap is to actually have that. And actually, I think they're going to eventually work out to be able to stream from a PC at the high resolution. I think it's going to get there eventually to be able to actually stream high definition game into one of these standalone units. I think that's still yet to be seen how that all plays out.
Yeah, that middle of the road, wireless but more powerful than a mobile device. I mean, that's ultimately what we're striving for. We want that type of capability. We all wish the Gear VR was a little bit more powerful, or we wish the Oculus Rift was wireless. So having that in between. Now, I was really surprised that they even mentioned something like this. I mean, we're talking about at least a year, if not 2 years off for this type of technology. So it was encouraging to know that they feel confident enough, that Oculus feels confident enough in their progress. And they showed a very, very brief clip of, here it is. And then the guy's like, it's cool. And that was it. And that was enough to kind of, wet people's whistle for this is what's coming up down the road. And that was really cool.
Yeah, and also for me personally, another pleasant surprise was to see the emphasis on web VR, which I think is something I've been covering a lot. But it's really like looking at how you can enable the open web and to kind of create the metaverse in a lot of ways. And just that they're announcing a new framework, React VR, and be able to put a lot of effort and initiative into fostering a whole ecosystem of immersive content that is going to start with VR, but potentially eventually move into augmented reality as well. But to me, that was really encouraging to see that as an announcement, and really featured pretty prominently today as well. Yeah,
and for them to say a VR web browser, I believe it was called Carmel. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I for one like the idea of like a unified type of system that works for all browsers, but they have a specific browser for this open VR web. That's fine too. I think that it would be terrible for us not to put at least a little bit of emphasis on the fact that what's his name, Mark, the Facebook guy,
yeah,
Zuckerberg. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg comes out on the stage, and it's all about social. It's all about social VR. It's all about this avatar system, and it's all about hanging with your buds in VR. I mean, that just really blew me away.
Yeah, there was a demo where Mark Zuckerberg was in VR as an avatar in a 360 video in his living room, took a virtual selfie of himself with a video live stream of his wife Priscilla and the dog in the background, and then posted it to Facebook. So I think you can start to see that the avatar system, they announced like a persistent avatar system. So with the social SDK, you'll be able to have an avatar you'll be able to take in between different social experiences, have these rooms that you go and meet your friends before you go into the VR experience, and then you have this ability to kind of gather your friends together in the lobby and then go into these different VR experiences. I think that was emphasizing the point that Mark Zuckerberg was making, which is that they're really trying to put people first and not just app first. When you look at immersive computing, it's going to be more about the people and the humanity rather than the technology and the apps.
Right. Not everything's about killing robots and zombies. Not everything. But yeah, some of it is. Yeah. So I feel like, this would be a good time for us to talk about an interesting combatant type of experience that you and I had together.
Yeah, so let's roll the first package here. This is, we're going to be looking at some footage from the mixed reality that was set up here at Oculus Connect 3. This is Insomnia Games, and it's called Unspoken.
Unspoken, and I'll tell you what, this game was really exciting and fun to play. So, Kent and I had the opportunity to play this virtual reality experience, this mixed reality experience. So what we're doing here is we're fighting each other, casting spells, casting magic missiles.
This is me throwing a fireball and killing Reverend Kyle. I was victorious in the first one there. So I think the thing that I really enjoyed about this is that it really felt natural, like I was throwing a baseball, and it felt like the physics was what I expected, and it felt satisfying to be able to just aim and throw it at you.
Why are we always dancing, Kent? You and I are
just
always
have a good
dancing at
time.
these things. Yeah. No, and so Kent happened to be victorious in both rounds. I'm not good at this game, but that's okay because I have a feeling that I'll be playing this a lot more. We'll get better. I'll have to challenge you again, Kent. We'll have to play this again. But yeah, having this whole mixed reality experience was really compelling, and it was exciting to watch the people outside of the booth afterwards when I was watching other people play. Get a kick out of this. I mean, just to be able to say I was in this game, and then other people watched as I was in this game. It just really worked out. It was a lot of fun. Man, you really just destroyed me, didn't you? Holy moly.
Well, I did. I do have a baseball background. I think that's the thing that I enjoy is that I feel like I have some skills of throwing things like that.
This was not good for me. Defeated.
Yeah, and we actually have here someone from Insomnia Games. We have Chad Dzern. So we welcome Chad to the... So victory, yes, I ended up winning. So we have here Chad Dzern from Insomnia Games. Just wanted to first ask you just your process of trying to make it feel like you were a magician and throwing magical spells with your hands, and what that process is like for you.
Right. I mean, this game really started when we got our hands on the touch controllers for the first time, and this was a little over a year ago. We have talked for a very long time about wanting to make an urban magic game, a game where you're in the real world, but you feel like there's this hidden world that's sort of like just under the surface. We saw the touch controllers and we said, this is what we need to make it feel like you're casting spells with your bare hands. So from there, it was a lot about what do we want to do? Like, what's our fantasy of magic? And, we all have that thing where we like hold our hands together and want to charge up a fireball and push it out. Yeah, or guard yourself like that. So our brainstorming is a lot about trying stuff, seeing what feels natural, and then prototyping it, making it in the game.
Yeah, the thing I really enjoyed was that it was a combination of the buttons pressing to be able to teleport, but also the different hand movements and gestures that felt really natural and intuitive.
That's what we want. We want it to feel like it's really skill-based and kind of nuanced. We always say, like, just like real magic. Like, we all imagine what it's like to kind of move your hands around and actually cast a spell, and that's the feeling we're trying to get to the core of with this game.
So I'm really curious, in terms of the mixed reality, I mean, mixed reality is the big buzzword right now. Okay, so everybody wants to be able to see themselves in the game like they see themselves while they're playing, that, that other camera so the spectator can enjoy it as well. Obviously, we've not seen a lot of mixed reality with the Oculus Rift. What are the challenges that you met trying to set something up like that?
Sure, well, our first attempt was all about trying to composite with software that was outside of the game. So, we take in a video feed, we drop it in the game, and then what do you get? I mean, it looks kind of pasted on a little bit. Like, the lighting's not quite right. We always joke that it looked a little bit like a meteorologist. It's like some tiny town, like up against a green screen. So, from there we had to figure out how to get a better chroma key so the green screen wasn't showing up. But the main thing we did was, and this is credit to our engineering team and to Tim Salvitti, who ran the show, getting the mixed reality working, we brought it into the game engine. And so now we've got a video stream that's going onto a polygon in the game. So that means things can sort properly. You get like things are behind each other in space the right way. You get the benefit of lighting from the engine. So suddenly that human coming from the video feed looks a lot more integrated. If you've got a fireball in your hand, you can see a little red light on the person. All of that works together to make it a lot more convincing and even immersive for people watching. You can then start to imagine what it must feel like to be in that VR world. And that's exactly what we're after.
So did you have a good time watching people play it today? I mean, it had to have been pretty good.
It's really fun, and it's great to see a player come in and get trained up a little bit and start to get competency, and you just see that little spark of players starting to understand strategies, what the game's really about. And it's a pretty fun game to watch. Like, we can see strategies develop depending on what the player's reaching for in terms of artifacts, like what gesture spells they're using, whether or not they're going for like the giant golem summon. All that works together to make it pretty watchable. Matches really unfold and have a beginning, middle, and end.
Awesome. Well, we just wanted to thank you for joining us
Yeah,
today,
thanks.
Chad.
Thanks for having me.
Insomnia Games with the Unspoken. It's going to be launching with the Oculus Touch. It was announced today that's going to be shipping free with the Oculus Touch controllers. So
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us.
Chad.
Thank you.
So cool. So let's move on to our next segment here. You can go ahead and roll the next package. So we're going to be taking a look at Oculus Medium here. So Oculus Medium, I'm really excited about personally because this is an opportunity where you actually go into VR and create 3D objects. And we can see at the beginning there, some of them were 3D printed. But in terms of creating VR, I think a big barrier to entry for a lot of people is actually having content that you want to put into a VR experience. And what Oculus Medium, I think, represents is this tool that everybody's going to have access to be able to start expressing their creativity and making assets they can actually use within VR experiences.
Yeah, for me, Medium is all about giving me the VR Play-Doh that the inner child in me wants to have, and so it's very intuitive. The interface gives me the ability to build some really interesting 3D stuff, and then to know that afterwards I can export this and do something with it. It's kind of like bringing my imagination to life. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think the actual user interface with the Oculus Touch controllers, I think, was the other thing that was really striking to me because they're using all the buttons and all the different controls, and it felt like this was moving towards a professional application in VR. And this is the first time that I've really seen this, of a whole fleshed out user interface that was kind of like matching all the user or the paradigms of like a Photoshop and putting it into a program so that you could do all sorts of amazing creations in 3D. And I'm super excited for where it goes.
Yeah, I don't consider myself like an amazing artist, but I was able to create some pretty intuitive things just playing around with it. I feel like if I had a day or two to really get used to it, I could have made some pretty neat stuff. And I've seen some amazing things created by some very talented people here at this show over the course of the last 2 days. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, they were having it at the party last night. And also another big announcement that came out today was that Dear Angelica is the next movie experience from Oculus Story Studio. And they created a whole engine to be able to create a story in VR within VR. It's like the first story that's created exclusively from within VR. And they created a whole system to be able to do that. And they announced that they're going to be releasing it as a tool sometime around Sundance. And that, to me, I think is what I'm personally super excited about.
Yeah, and that's called Quill, and it's really neat. It's got the ability. It has this. It's more of a painting sort of thing, where Medium is physical, and then Quill is very I don't know, a little bit more esoteric, I guess.
Yeah, it's like more illustration style. But one of the things that Sascha Unfeld said is that they want that to be, when you watch something made in Quill, you want to say, oh, that's Wesley Albrook, the artist, rather than like, oh, that was made in Quill. So I think that they're going to make a tool that an artist can really express their style. And I think that's super exciting in terms of storytelling and what people are going to be able to do with it.
Well, and I mean, and the key factor here too is it's not a game. It's not really even experience. It's a tool that you use with the touch controllers, and that's really cool. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go to the next package here. We have Superhot.
It's super hot.
Super hot.
You and I both played this game multiple times. It's super and it's hot.
Yeah, so for people, if you're not familiar with Superhot, the basic mechanic it's a first-person shooter game that has a 2D version where when you move, locomote through the space, usually that's when things move. But in this case, when you move your hands or head, then you unfreeze time. And so you're really playing with the mechanic of time here.
Right. Now, it was nice to see more content in this game mechanic, because last time I played this, there was a couple levels, and now there's like so many new levels, and it's a lot of fun to be able to, you stop moving, they stop moving, you quickly grab the gun out of their hand, smack them upside the head, shoot the guy over here, and then you start moving again, and everything starts happening. And so the game mechanic is it's fun, but then you have to go replay it over and over and over again. Once you get shot or die, you have to start over at that level, and that's it's super challenging, and it's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, it's the closest thing I've seen to like being in bullet time,
exactly,
in the Matrix, where you're dodging bullets, and it's just, to me, it's really satisfying, and it's something where you're playing with time and physics like that, and be able to predict where things are going to be. It's just physics in VR turns out to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Overall, just the idea of stopping time and controlling and manipulating the environment and then starting it back up again. It's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
Great. So let's go. And again, if you are tuning in, then we're going to be giving an Oculus Rift here at the end. So
that's right.
Stay tuned here. And so, what's the next package?
Well, let's talk about this, because this is one of the packages that if you pre-order the touch controllers, you actually get the VR Sports package. Now, those of you who know me pretty well know that I'm not a sports ball player. However, VR Sports is something I'll at least give a shot to. So right here, I'm playing football, or at least it looks like I'm playing football, or swatting flies. I'm not sure what I was doing. Yeah, so we've got all these different standard sports experiences. You're throwing balls, you're catching balls. Then there's hockey. And you can't play hockey in VR without having a fighting option. So here I am giving Gretzky what for. Yeah, I'm having a hockey fight.
Now, and these VR Sports, are they single player, or do they have multiplayer? Are you playing against people, or are you just playing against the...
I was playing single. I did not have any type of conversation about multiplayer. I'll be honest with you, it was very arcade style, so I feel like the single player was adequate, especially for a included title. So, if you're go do some slap shot or throw some hoops or, throw the ball around, it's good. It's a good title to have. It's actually, I would expect a title like that to come with a piece of hardware like touch.
Yeah, and for me, different games like this feels like you're kind of throwing things, moving your body, and you're able to track the controller in different ways, and start to go beyond just like the game pads and really get your full physicality. A lot of games like that are involved with getting your full body in the end. I think that's one theme that I've seen, at least in a lot of these games that are trying to actually sort of encourage you to move around a lot more.
I feel like nothing is a testimony to the tracking capabilities of the Oculus Rift and the touch controllers than games like this, where you are quite literally trying to move as fast as you can to catch something or throw something or evade something. And these are all, if there's any level of latency, if there's any level of concern that things are not going to go where you need them to go at that time, then you're going to have a bad time. And when I was playing the VR Sports, I played multiple of them. Had no problem whatsoever. Had no problem with the tracking. It was all wonderful. I really encourage it. I mean, it's very reminiscent of like when the Nintendo Wii came out. It's got that type of feel to it.
Yeah, and so let's go and revisit the keynote just again, because I think one thing that they had was Michael Abrash came in kind of talking about the future, and this is a kind of a tradition here at Oculus Connect where they have someone from the Oculus research come and talk a little bit about where things are headed and where things are going. And I think that Michael Abrash is kind of taking 5 years out and seeing like all these different technologies, whether it's eye tracking and foveated rendering, wireless, being able to eventually, I think the end goal is to, the experience that encapsulates it all is like sit in a room, feel like you're co-present with these other people, and be able to collaborate on a whiteboard and like feel like it's just as good as being able that level of presence with other people and be able to actually get real work done. That, I think, and all the technologies that have to get to that point, it was really interesting to see that really crystallize to that.
I really enjoy every time Michael Abrash gets up on the stage. Every year at Connect, I am excited to hear what he is going to say. He'll have a story. He'll have a comment, some sort of tale that like alludes to what he's going to talk about, and it's just, he's such a great storyteller. And he was also ill. He came up, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm sick, I need some tea, I should be home in bed, but I'm so passionate about what I want to say to the group and to the collective VR community that he was willing to take the chance to just get up on the stage and talk to people. And that just shows the level of dedication that he has to it. And so when he talks, I know the VR community is listening and going, wow, here's a visionary. I mean, here's a guy who, for the last 2 years, has made predictions that have come true. And so when he talks about what's going to happen another 5 or 10 years down the road, I look at that and say, well, those are all really good possibilities. And I'm excited, too, because a lot of stuff that he is talking about are things that we all want as a second and third generation for our Oculus Rift.
Yeah, and I think that for anybody that gets really into the specs and the technical trade-offs, I think he's got some real reasonable predictions as to the pixel density, the field of view, what it's actually going to look at. But and also just that I don't know. It feels like there's all these other, digital light field displays, but it feels like they're on a technological track where there's certain things that they're aiming for. The one thing that was really stuck out for me is we're not going to recreate humans. We're going to not go over to the other side of Uncanny Valley.
Right.
You're going to know that you're interacting with a digital avatar. We're not going to get that good, but so I think that in terms of the roadmap of what's to come, I think that is super inspiring. For me, the biggest moment was at the very end where there's over 2,000 people in this room, and he's saying what we're doing is super important. This is a whole immersive computing revolution, and we're all a part of making this happen. The people that are in this room.
Yeah, I mean, the technology, the inevitability of technology, that these things are bound to happen. They don't happen on their own. We have to go and make them happen. And so as the VR community grows, it's our responsibility to make sure that these things happen. And that's a really powerful message that he left us with. I mean, I think a lot of people were really inspired by that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other announcements. There's so much that was in this keynote. It's hard to really cover everything. But one of the things that they were announcing some laptops that were out there that are going to be coming out.
Yeah.
But also just in terms of content, just all the money that they've already invested, over $250 million in the content to really kickstart a lot of this VR revolution that's happening now. But also $10 million for diversity initiatives that they're also coming out. So
Absolutely.
I was really excited to hear that.
It's really good that people are giving away stuff. I mean, Oculus is giving away things, putting money to support stuff. Let's give away something. Let's give away something. Okay, so first of all, make sure U.S. only, 18 or over to qualify. 18 years old or older. All right. Oh, man. Okay, so I know who the winner is. You know who the winner is. Are you ready to say it?
Well, yeah.
Okay. All right. So the winner of the Oculus Rift for the Intel Daily Summary at Oculus Connect 3 is Crispy Critter 86. So Crispy Critter 86, if you're watching, thank you for watching, because you're awesome and you're going to get an Oculus Rift courtesy of Intel and Twitch and Kent and I. So you're welcome. You have 30 minutes to get down here to San Jose Convention Center to pick up. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Watch your email. We'll find you, I promise. Yeah, so a Twitch staff member will message you on the platform within 48 hours is how you're going to find out about it. So Crispy Critter 86, we want you to also tweet pictures of it when you get it and say hi and thanks and all that stuff. Cool.
So for, I guess were there any other big takeaways for you today when you're
Did you go pick up your earbuds?
No, I haven't. So yeah, there were some new headphones that were announced that were noise canceling headphones that for some people that may want to have a little bit more
you get
different
two
styles.
of these.
So
yeah, they go on the Rift. They hang down. They're very fashionable earrings. You just wear them like this. Yeah, so these go on to where your speakers were on the Rift, and you can actually take those off and then have earbuds. So they're like noise canceling. Yeah. They're very comfortable. I have to say they're very comfortable. So if you are an earbud kind of person, then they have a solution for you. And these are going to be $49 in the Oculus Store. They're going to be available later this year. They also announced that they're going to have some more cameras. So for the people who want to do room scale with your Oculus Rift, which I can attest to works very well, you can do it with a third camera. And so you'll have one camera that came with your Rift, one that came with the touch controllers. You can buy a third one, and that's going to be $79 at the store as well.
That was a big, I think, announcement as well.
Yeah.
The fact that they were for a long time just recommending having two front-facing cameras, but now they're recommending to having a third camera behind you to be able to do full 360, which I think is a huge thing that a lot of people were concerned about, to be able to have that full embodied and not have to be constrained by just facing forward, which for some of the experiences that have to design around that, I feel like it's not as good of an experience to kind of force the user to be in a specific orientation.
Yeah, I've done it myself, and I've got 3 cameras in my VR room, and it works out really well. So I encourage people to think about the idea of having having that room scale with your Oculus Rift. It's pretty cool. All right, so I feel like tomorrow we should do some more stuff.
Yeah, so tomorrow at 10 a.m. we're going to be doing another brief live stream for 15 minutes. And yeah, it's going to be like the final day here at Oculus Connect 3. And there's one final keynote. We don't quite know what's going to be talked about at all or anything. So who
knows?
So yeah, we'll be...
I think John Carmack's talking tomorrow, so that's always good for a lively discussion. So I'm sure we can, have a little back and forth talking about that. Man, it's been exciting, Kent. This is, Oculus Connect 3 here in San Jose. Man, maybe we should go play some more games. You want to go play some more games?
Yeah. Let's do it.
I think we should. All right.
All right. So my name's Kent Pye with the Voices of VR podcast, and
I'm Reverend Kyle, host of the Rev VR podcast, and so this has been the Intel Daily Summary here at Oculus Connect 3, and be sure to find us tomorrow. And thank you everybody for watching.
Yeah. Thank you.
Be core strong.